Hold on. Let me get this together. What's up? MediaWorks here, back with another video. Again, the 5D Mark II DSLR camera. Get a good picture of it. I've been using this camera for a couple of months now. I've had it for a while, and I just want to come back and talk to you guys about it because I used this camera at an event that I went to last week, and I am just amazed at the stills and the video that I got from this camera. The pros and the cons that I have with this camera. This camera is about 15 years old. In 2018, this camera was about $2,700, close to $3,000. You could get this camera used on Amazon, eBay, probably your local camera shop for about less than $500. Why do I keep using it? I don't know, it just keeps calling me. But for some reason, I keep going back to this Canon 5D Mark II. It's full frame, it has about 21 megapixels. One thing about full frame cameras, they're really good in low light versus the crop sensor or the micro four thirds. I went to an event a couple of days ago and I used, not this camera, I used the Canon R6, and they dimmed the lights in there, so I had to use a flash, but the pictures came out great. The specs on here isn't that bad. The quality build is pretty good. It feels good in the hands. But one thing about the screen that I don't like is I used this camera outside and it was a very sunny day and it was really bright and I couldn't really see my pictures on this screen. It was a big reflection and everything, and I didn't really know what I couldn't really see what I was shooting at first. But after some time, I had to like kind of put my hand over it to make sure my pictures were sharp. Another thing that I didn't like was this camera is pretty slow when it comes to like sports photography. I mean, it did the job. I got some great footage, you know, of the basketball players and everything, but it's slow. It's only 3.9 frames per second, but portraits, studio work, you can do good, or just your everyday shooting, street photography, you can use this camera and your photos are gonna come out bomb. I was really shocked. They were so sharp, they was clear. It doesn't use SD cards, it has the CF, the bigger cards, but I'm not mad at the CF cards. You know, with this, if I get like a 128 gig CF card, I could take like almost over 1,000 pictures. HDMI port on here. Oh, I also shot a video on this camera. Now, everybody's used to the 4K, the 8K, the 6K, the 12K. This camera doesn't have anything K. The highest it shoot is 1080, but people are still shooting videos in 1080 and you can't even tell. And the autofocus wasn't that bad on here. I mean, you gotta keep in mind, this is a 15-year-old DSLR. The cameras that we have out here now is so high in the technology with face tracking, and the autofocus is a little better. There's a lot of features that we have on these new cameras that's pretty good, to the point where you don't really have to try to compare which camera is better, because all of these cameras out here are pretty good, depending on what brand you get. All of them take great pictures. But something like this, I like to practice on this because it takes you back, because it doesn't have, it's not spec'd out. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles like the newer cameras have. Sometimes I like to pick up this camera and take it back to the fundamentals for practice and just try to make sure I understand the basics and just keep practicing to make sure I know how to produce a good shot in the camera. But I don't really see too many people on YouTube or anywhere talking about older cameras like the 5D Mark II. I want to try to make more videos on older cameras to let you guys know that you don't have to spend your last dollar on trying to get the latest and the greatest cameras and try to do reviews on them and try to have it. And you know, you can still purchase older cameras at a decent price. I'm going to be using this camera a little bit more. I mean, it's easy to go get the latest and the greatest, but I like to practice on older cameras because it helps you get back to the fundamentals.